Welcome once again to my weekly webcast. Weekly about 45 times a year. The weeks we're in session in Washington, D.C. Obviously, I'm speaking to you from Washington, D.C., my office, 135 Hart Building. Last week I had a series of 24 town meetings in 24 different counties of the southeast quadrant of the state of Iowa. I had the largest turnouts ever, and glad to have it. Don't know the real reason for the large turnouts, but a very concerned audience, but a relatively friendly audience, particularly with my vote against the stimulus package. 2 weeks ago I announced that I'm making as much use of new technology as is possible, and on the ICN I've, as an example, just finished a two-way conversation with students at the Pleasantville High School to answer questions for them. I can do video conferencing with people in a town hall-like format, same as I did for the high school kids, but it can be done with people that aren't in high school as well. And then I do this because I want students and or citizens to engage on a first-hand basis as much as they can with those of us who are elected. You know, letters are good, emails good, telephone calls are good, but there's nothing as good as having a personal conversation between those of us that are elected and our constituents. Each week I answer questions for people that are emailed in. So the questions that I have emailed in now, the first one is Larry of Marshalltown. Do you think in the long run the stimulus bill will be affected? The only honest answer I can give you 2 weeks after it was passed is I don't know. And so maybe you think I should know, but government's not a precise science. And when the President of the United States signing the bill in Denver as he did, he had caution to the people of this country about whether or not it will accomplish its goals. It's well intended, but I voted against it because so much of it is going to be spent beyond the years of 2009 and 10 when we have to stimulate the economy, give it a jump start. And I didn't like the platform of a stimulus bill using in a subterfuge fashion for just a lot of spending that ought to go through the normal appropriation process. The second question is from Charles, Cumming, Iowa. Is the fairness doctrine a violation of free speech? I think it'd be more a violation of the Fifth Amendment, where it says government shouldn't take property without due process of law. And if they do, it's got to be under eminent domain and be paid for. Now, this isn't real estate we're talking about. This is somebody who pays to get their message on the air and invests a lot of money in programs. And somebody like Chuck Grassley could come along and say, well, you need to give me equal time, and so you got to pay for it, and I get the time. I think that there's no need for the fairness doctrine today. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, I would have said otherwise. We only had 3 television channels, news channels. We only had a few AM stations. Today, we've got all sorts of cable television. We got all sorts of internet. We've got MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, and a lot of others that teenagers can name that maybe I can't name. That anybody with a controversial issue can get their message out. We don't need the fairness doctrine to be reimposed like it was probably a legitimate thing to have some time ago, but not today in the modern technology that we have. So Charles, I hope that answers your question about the fairness doctrine. By the way, it came up at almost every one of my 24 town meetings that I held last week when Congress was not in session. Thank you for joining me for this webcast, and for the next 5 or 6 weeks we'll have a regular webcast until we have our Easter break sometime in April. Thank you very much.